Welcome to 21st Sports recap and reaction for the Atlanta Falcons at the New York Giants in their Week 2 matchup, September 20th, 2015. We're going to go over the scores and the stats and give our breakdown and analysis. But starting off in the first quarter with just over 30 seconds left in the first, Tevin Coleman punched it in from a yard out for the first score of the game. And with the extra point by Matt Bryant, it was 7-0 Atlanta over New York. Coleman would end up leaving the game later on in the second quarter. And in the second quarter, the Giants got on the scoreboard as Josh Brown hit a 38-yard field goal with about 10 minutes left before halftime to cut the Falcons' lead to 4, with the score Atlanta 7, New York 3. Matt Bryant would respond with a field goal of his own about 5.5 minutes later, and he hit a 42-yarder to make it 10-3 as he extended the Falcons' lead to 7. But then with just over 3 minutes left before halftime, Eli Manning found ODB, Odell Beckham Jr., and he took it 67 yards all the way to the end zone. Brown added an extra point, and this game was tied at 10 apiece. Brown would end up kicking a field goal with just seconds left on the clock before halftime, a 44-yarder that gave the Giants the lead for the first time in this game with the score New York 13, Atlanta 10. So then coming out of the locker rooms at halftime, the Giants would add more points to their scoreboard on their first drive of the second half when Eli Manning hit the tight end Larry Donald for a 10-yard touchdown that put the lead to 10 with the score New York 20, Atlanta 10. That would be it for the third. Then in the fourth, the Falcons mounted their comeback as Matt Ryan would hit Leonard Hankerson for a 10-yard touchdown pass with still just under 13 minutes left to play in the game, cutting the lead to 3 when Matt Bryant hit the extra point to make it 20-17, New York over Atlanta. Hankerson earlier in the game had caught a touchdown, but they called it down, and that was when Tevin Coleman punched it in from a yard out there in the closing moments of the first quarter. But anyway, here in the closing moments of this game, with just over a minute left to play, the Falcons would get all the way down to the 2-yard line, and they gave it to Devonta Freeman, and he punched it in from 2 yards out, and Matt Bryant added the extra point, and now the Falcons were up by 4. So the Falcons were winning at this point 24-20, and now the Giants would get the ball on their own 20 after the kickoff, having to go the length of the field, having to go 80 yards to score a touchdown as a field goal would do them no good. Eli threw an incomplete pass on first and on second down, but there was a penalty against Alford for pass interference against Odell Beckham Jr., and that made it a first down on the 50. Eli then threw another incomplete pass to bring up second down, another incomplete pass that brought up third down, another incomplete pass. Now it's 4th and 10 at the 50, and an incomplete pass, the 4th incomplete pass, really the 6th incomplete passes. There was nothing but incomplete passes on this final possession other than that pass interference call, and they turned the ball over on downs, and all that was left to do was for Matt Ryan to take the knee in the victory formation as the Falcons come from behind in the fourth quarter to score 14 points and win this game by 4 with the final score, Atlanta 24, New York 20. So the Falcons looking very impressive as they improve their record to 2-0, and the Giants have now fallen to 0-2. And as we've been stating throughout these videos, if you've been paying any attention or watched any of our other videos, the Falcons at 2-0 now have a 63% chance to make the playoffs, and the Giants just a 12% chance. And let's look at the numbers here for the quarterbacks. Matt Ryan, 30 for 46, 363 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, as he has another big week. Eli Manning, 27 for 40, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. So he had a pretty good line, but at the end of the game, he threw nothing but ducks. And then on the ground, the leading rusher was Williams for the Giants, 43 yards off of 6 carries. Eli had 23 yards on the ground off of 2 carries. Shane Vereen, 6 carries for 19 yards. He also had 8 receptions for 76 yards. And then for the Falcons, Tevin Coleman, before having to leave the game due to injury, had 9 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown. And Devonta Freeman, 12 carries for 25 yards and a touchdown as well. Not a lot of production out of the ground, but they did manage to get those 2 touchdowns right when they got on the goal line. So they were able to get it in those short yardage situations. And of course, Julio Jones, another big performance, 13 receptions for 135 yards. But Odell Beckham Jr., just 7 receptions, but 146 yards, including a 67-yard touchdown that was quite the highlight to behold. I definitely recommend checking that out. And Hankerson, 6 receptions for 77 yards and a touchdown for the Falcons. The tight end, Jacob Tamme, 4 receptions for 77 yards. Freeman had 4 receptions for 34 yards to go along with his 25 yards rushing, as he had 59 total yards in the game. And Larry Donnell for the Giants, their tight end, 4 receptions for 28 yards, including the touchdown. John Brown, the kicker, 2 for 2 on field goals, 2 for 2 on the extra points for the G-men. Bryant, 1 for 1 on the field goals, 3 for 3 in the extra points. We look at the defense. Durant having a monster game, 9 tackles for the linebacker for Atlanta. And they also forced a pair of fumbles. Beasley, the rookie from Clemson, he had a fumble forced, and so did Bierman. And they each had sacks as well, and they each had 3 tackles to boot. And also over on the Giants side, that was the Falcons, of course. On the Giants side, Robert Ayers Jr. had a sack. And there was also a sack for Jenkins. Look at the team stats. The Falcons, 25 first downs, just 19 first downs for the Giants. And third downs. There's a lot of third downs converted in this game. 21 third downs converted. Of course, that was out of 36. But 11 for 17 for Atlanta, 64% converted. 10 for 17 for New York, 58% converted. As they were doing really good on third downs on offense, both teams. Both teams are struggling defensively to stop those third down conversions. The Giants did go for it once at the end of the game on 4th down. Of course, they did not convert. They turned the ball over on downs. And the total net yards, 402 for the Falcons, 388 for the Giants. Net rushing yards, 97 for the Giants, 56 for the Falcons. Net passing yards, 346 for the Falcons. Matt Ryan was sacked twice for a total of 17 yards lost. And for the Giants, Eli was sacked twice for a total loss of 1 yard, which gave them 291 net passing yards. When we look at the red zone, the Atlanta Falcons were perfect in the red zone, 3 for 3. The Giants just 1 for 4, and that's just 25%, and they lost by 4 points. So if they've got better production out of their red zone appearances, they would have won this game. There's no reason they didn't win this game other than bad management, whether it be by Eli or whether it be by the coach. After the game, Coughlin seemed like he was blaming the players. And it's like, hey man, it's in your hands as well. Yeah, they got to go out there and play the game, but you got to give them the plays to execute. You got to prepare them. So the Giants just are not looking prepared at all. And especially the mistakes that they've been making mistakes that they shouldn't be making. A team that is as seasoned as the Giants, especially with the consistency at the head coach and at quarterback, they shouldn't be making these mistakes that they're making. Especially in the red zone and down the stretch in the fourth quarter and in the second half of games. You make your adjustments at halftime. But the Falcons, though, they're a really good team. I thought they were going to win this game as it was. And a big part of that is their defense. Their defense played really good. But just real quick, the time of possession, 31 minutes and 35 seconds in favor of the Falcons. 28 minutes, 25 seconds for the Giants. But as I was saying, the Giants, their defense isn't that good. The Falcons' defense is. The Falcons were playing really good. They were getting the pressure on, and they were doing their job. They held them to just 20 points. When the Falcons are going to get their points, they're going to put up their points on the scoreboard. Julio's going to get his yards. Matt Ryan gets his yards, he gets his touchdowns, and really the difference is the success they're having on the ground. That's one thing to be a little concerned about is, with Tevin Coleman. He started out looking so good already this season, last week, and then here in this game until he had to leave the game. But their offensive line, though, is looking pretty strong. It's like I said, both times, in this game, Freeman and Coleman both getting short yardage touchdowns right there when it was, goal to go. So that is definitely a promising sign for the Falcons. And it's a good start. They definitely have an inside track on the South at 2-0. They're the only team in their division, I believe, is 2-0. Actually, the Panthers are 2-0. So right there with the Panthers. But with the Bucks at 1-1. Of course, the Saints losing to the Bucks today, going down to 0-2. So the Giants 0-2 in their division, and it's kind of wide open in that division too, with the Cowboys losing Tony Romo, already being without Dez Bryant. The Eagles playing the way they're playing, they're also 0-2. And then it's like the Redskins looking as strong as they did today against the Rams. But it's still just week 2, so there's plenty of football in front of us. And the Giants have proven in the past that they're a team that if anyone can do it, they could do it. Because it's weird. The Giants could go 8-8, somehow skate into the playoffs, and then make a run. That's, when you got Coughlin and Eli under center, somehow Eli, he's not consistent. Other than maybe consistently he throws interceptions, even though he did not throw a pick in this game, though. So to his credit. But somehow always pulls stuff out of his head. Just not right now. It's like they're a weird team to really get your finger on, the Giants. But the Falcons, so I believe the Falcons are for real. I believe this is, this 2-0. It's not just a paper 2-0. Their defense is playing solid. Matt Ryan's getting, a lot of production out of that passing game. Of course, it's just going to be a matter of if they're going to be able to continue to get production out of the running game. Although they didn't even run the ball that much. They only ran the ball 22 times versus 46 passes. So we'll see how things move forward. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Whether you agree or disagree, definitely interested in your insight. Thank you very much for listening. It is appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and had a great weekend and enjoyed all the sports.